So, if you, like myself, were having a bit of issues trying to find the right settings for your Halo Infinite game because they felt a bit slow or a bit sticky, hopefully after this video, you'll have something a little better. And this is the sort of settings I've found that appear to be most linear and allow for better aim, but also something not too twitchy and not too fast either. So, this is, of course, for controller, if you haven't seen by the video title, and we're just going to get straight into it because there's no point messing around. So, you might think it's a little weird, but I have my button layout on a custom one, and as you can see on screen, you might be like, that is such a strange layout, but this is what I've come accustomed to from other games, and the main one is obviously having LB on jump rather than like X or something like that. And the reason for this is I don't have back paddles on my controller, so it allows me to jump and move around while being able to aim and shoot people still, which is particularly important in Halo because you want to be prioritizing on that jump and that movement. So having that ability to jump while you're still aiming and shooting is way up there for me and way more important than playing on a legacy layout, which is nice for nostalgia, but we're here to win games and get kills. So feel free to try that out for yourself or adjust it to something you might actually prefer rather than using the legacy. Don't have to stick to what Halo's offering. My thumbstick layout and stuff is all default. I don't know why we've jumped down a load right now. Let me just click that. So everything else is pretty much preference. I've got hold to crouch on. I just prefer that. That's where I've come from with other games as well. Hold to sprint is off. I much prefer just auto sprint, and it saves my thumbsticks. But we're gonna get into the real good stuff. So the sensitivity and acceleration. So I've got my acceleration onto 1, but my sensitivity is up to 9. And you might be thinking, surely that's not enough. Well, when we get down into the dead zones, you'll understand why. So my zoom levels as well. This was a big one for me. I've turned these right down because when I was aiming in, it felt like way too much. So I've turned all of these down to 0.6. I might do some further adjusting, but again, it's just what feels more comfortable for you. I prefer to have a much sort of less sensitive aim when I'm aiming down sights. I prefer things to be much slower. Again, it's personal preference, but when I'm ADSing, which is pretty rare in Halo anyway, I want that to be sort of on point when I am aiming at someone. Now, we're going to get into the interesting stuff. So the move thumbstick, this is obviously just your left thumbstick for moving around, and I wanted like a good response on this without having sort of stick drifts or anything like that. So the center dead zone is taken right down to 2. The max input threshold is actually increased up to 11. It's only a slight increase, but as it says there, lowering values will increase the acceleration curve, which is not what we want. We want a more linear response. So you could increase that more if you prefer playing on a super linear response. And then my axle dead zone is just dropped a little bit down to 9 as well. Again, if I drop this further, things will become a bit more twitchy. So these are the ones that you want to be adjusting rather than just adjusting the look sense. The main factors in how your aim will feel is down to your dead zones. So that's sort of when your stick starts responding to the movement. So if you feel like something's a little more twitchy, then like increase it. But if you feel like it's too stiff, take it down. My look thumbstick is pretty much the same as well. So again, I've taken that center dead zone down to 2. Along with this, I've taken that axial dead zone. I'm not even sure I'm pronouncing that right. I've taken that down to 2 as well. And my max input threshold is up to 12.5. Again, wanting a more linear response. And then everything else is just standards, and I've not really touched it. They're just my key bindings and whatnot. And then my video settings, I've increased the field of view a little bit. I don't want it too wild. I think it'll look a bit weird, so we're only on 100. I'm playing around with that. I might increase that a little more. I'm not too sure. My frame rate, of course, I want that as max as possible. And then my graphic preset is just on medium. I do like how the game looks. I'm still getting a solid 80 to 100 frames on a 5-year-old card. So, you know, I'm pretty happy with that. Now, the things I would change here, which I have noticed now, is probably if you really want to see your enemies, just taking all your screen shake right down, taking your exposure right down, taking your blur right down, everything like that. Just take it off, and you'll probably have less visual clutter. But I kind of like the immersiveness. I can't lie. I'm probably going against a lot of people's opinions here, but I very much like the immersiveness with all the effects. So again, that's personal preference. But if it's annoying you, just take it all down, and it'll be like way less visual clutter. Then everything else you can just leave as you want. I mean, it's all sort of preference. Again, I've turned my FPS counter on. If you do have issues with color blindness or want to see your enemies a bit more, you can actually change the enemy UI color. So you could have it as something like green or yellow, you know, if that's an issue for you. And I like how they've actually included this customization, so you can choose your own colors for those who might need it. Aside from that, you could again turn off all your chromatic aberration and stuff to make stuff look a little nicer. I guess it's just immersiveness again, but it will be taking GPU performance as well. But that's sort of my my settings for Halo, and these is what working for me. This is what feels a bit better, a bit more responsive, but not over the top and twitchy. So again, like I say, use this as a base, adjust the dead zone as you may need to. But that's it. If that's helped you out, please leave a like, let me know in the comments below. But for now, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.